exclusive NVIDIA to make ARM-based PC chips and major new challenge to Intel. A new Chrome feature may protect your privacy in a very big way. Amazon will now fire employees who don't come into the office. And a dangerous new malware can crack encrypted USB drives. This is Geek News Central. My name is Todd Cochran. I want to welcome you to episode 1700. Yes, we finally rolled over, and you are listening at Geek News Central, the Geek News Central podcast for Monday, October 23rd. This show is sponsored by GoDaddy.com and supported by listeners just like you. Great deals from GoDaddy can be found at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. And you can support this show today at geeknewscentral.com/insider by becoming a Geek News Central Insider. We're lit. We are live. Of course, you can find out all about that at podcastapps.com. Join the value for value revolution. Earn Satoshi just by listening to this show on a modern podcast app at podcastapps.com. Hey, we want to give a warm welcome to all the listeners of the show. Thanks for being here. Make sure you get over to geeknewscentral.com. When you're on the website, you can follow or subscribe to the podcast right there in the right-hand column of the website. Of course, you can sign up for a newsletter while you're on the website as well. Get connected to us. Get engaged. And one of those engagement areas is you can join our chat room at geeknews.chat. That's a Mastodon chat server. Apply for an account. Just say you're a listener of the Geek News Central podcast. I will approve your account in short order. Of course, for our social, real simple. We're on X at Geek News. Of course, email geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com. Again, at Geek News on X. You can follow me on Facebook just as well. All the partner shows are linked at geeknewscentral.com. That includes the new media show, co-hosted by myself and Mr. Rob Greenlee. The Gadget Professor with Mr. Don Bain, who is still out in Europe, but still producing his podcast. And the GNC Week in Review, of course, with our executive producer, Kirk, and his co-host, Scott. So definitely want to thank the entire team here, and more importantly, our long-running sponsor. And I tell you, GoDaddy has been with us really through thick and thin since the early days. June of 2005, they came on as a sponsor of the show and have been here every single episode. And really, this is where savings begin. And you today need to go over to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. And when you're on the website, you can lock in your savings. Savings start here. A penny for new, brand new domain name. $1.99 a month economy hosting for the first year. Again, with a free domain name. $1.90. Because why do I say again? A penny is essentially a free domain name. Again, $1.99 a month economy hosting for the first year with a free domain name, or $2.99 a month managed WordPress hosting for the first year. Again, with a free domain name. Two of the best hosting deals on this, just in the known universe. Definitely check them out. You always get a free trial of GoDaddy Website Builder, your choice of personal business to business plus plans. Again, all these codes, savings begin at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Get them over there, get it locked in. You'll save big, save large, and you support this team, the writing team at Geek News Central. And all the things we do here keeps the rent paid, electricity paid, gas bill, insurance. It never ends. There's always something. And again, a lot of this money that we earn with GoDaddy go right back to the bloggers. Everything to run this operation relies, about 90% of it relies on the GoDaddy sponsorship and your support of them. So we hope that you'll continue to support GoDaddy. And here we are at episode 1700. And again, thank you so much to GoDaddy for being here for the long haul. And we hope all of you will take advantage of those opportunities to get online and start something cool, start building your legacy today. So, wow, it's been a while coming. We've been creeping up towards 1,700 between my travel and everything else. It's been a while. Now, those of you that are watching the show, or maybe been on Facebook or seen my little cake announcement, I do have something's kind of funny. If you notice it, and again, you're going to have to go Facebook or you're going to have to watch the video. If you're listening, just come and take a peruse. And if you see something interesting around the 1700 celebration, send me an email, geeknews@gmail.com. And everyone that sends an email for, noticing the obvious, the episode, definitely drop me an email and we'll put you in the running. Everyone that submits just a simple email, we'll get you an Amazon gift card. And all I can say is AI is perfect at all times. I'll leave it at that. But, I do this every year. And this year, I didn't spend a lot of time, but here's some quick facts and figures. 8,300 hours producing and publishing this show on my end. 1,900 hours of content that some of you have sat through almost from day one. 79 days of your life if you've listened to this show from end to end. And again, really the history goes way back, to about 88 when I started a bulletin board system. And then, kind of moved to like 94, 97 time range when I had the bulletin board in a internet service provider's closet, literally. And the fate would allow stars to line. And part of it was involving me being in an accident in June of 2004 that laid me up and put me in a hotel room along Hampton or along I-35 in Waco, Texas, in the Hampton Inn, and discovering podcast October of 2004. And that first episode, of course, we already celebrated that 19th year with October 9th. But we've not kept up with 100 episodes a year, obviously, because we would be closer to 1,900 than just rolling over 1,700. But, those first 5 or 6 years, there was barely an episode missed. My dad's death, obviously, there was in 2006, we had, missed a few days. And then here on out, it's been just this amazing ride. 2007, when I retired from the Navy, I started playing with video around episode 500, 600, somewhere in there. Got inducted in Podcast Hall of Fame, and moved out of Hawaii in 2019 and come here and built the studio. And here we are at 1,700 episodes. It's been a fun ride. It really, really has. And all of you that have continued to do the ride with me, I appreciate it. We know that 99.7% of you listen to the show. A few of you will come in and watch the video and say hello while we're live. In fact, if you're watching today at all, it doesn't matter where you're listening. If you're watching on Facebook or if you're watching, doesn't matter where you're watching today. Make sure you check in and say hi in the chat. And we definitely appreciate when you do that. Having done this show video wise, the success of the show is not because of the live. Everyone's so wrapped up around live today. The live draws just a few numbers. And if we remember back to when I started doing live, it's because I was looking for some feedback while I was doing the show at 8 p.m. Hawaiian Standard Time. And that's not the case anymore. So it's like today we kicked off at 5:45, even though I planned on going a little bit later, but I realized I had an interview at 7 p.m. tonight. So I got to get this knocked out, recorded, and be ready to do the interview at 7 p.m. So it's just one of those things where, we can go live anytime, and then you guys consume the show on demand whenever you want to. And then I see the spike. You guys are within 24 hours, about 85% of you grab the show. Then the rest of you trickle in over a couple of days. And I figure that audience that listens within the first 24 hours, because we're talking about news, is the audience that's really tuned in, and people that get it a few days later, or, maybe they're playing catch up or something. But I definitely appreciate all of you that are actively subscribed and listen to the show and then send comments and stuff. And it goes, there's probably episode 1700 congratulations in my email. But once again, my email inbox is woefully behind. I think I got 2,000 emails in my, every time I clean up my Geek News at Gmail email inbox and kill all the spam, about 2-3 months, I'm good. And all of a sudden, it just starts creeping in like crazy. So I have to go through and do another round and killing all the spam. And everything, because basically when you run in the public sphere, you get signed up for all kinds of stuff, and it just gets ridiculous. So anyway, if there's a congratulatory email in there, I apologize. I have not read it, and I will send a reply back to you privately when I get caught up in the email. But that that's kind of been the history here. And those who've been around for a while, we do this about every year, and it just happened to coincide this year with October being my anniversary month. So now we're on the march to 1800. We're on the march to 20 years in podcasting, which is, crazy when I really, really think about it, to be honest with you. But, I continue to be excited about a lot of things. And to be honest with you, after the last show, I was doing some experiments with ChatGPT, and I had an eureka moment. I found something very, very cool. And my mind was just a little bit blown. I didn't share the results in the blog because it would have gave away what I found, but at some point I probably will. So you probably see a change to the format of how the blog post is written, and you'll kind of get an idea what I did. But another thing that's cool is now ChatGPT is tied to DALL-E 3. And I created all the last episode's art with ChatGPT. The entire show notes and everything was basically written with my editing, was done by ChatGPT. And I think this just gives them a leg up over Claude at this point. Claude still does better overall summaries, but again, doing what I did on the last episode, I was pretty impressed with the results of that. I did not share because I found it out literally 5 minutes after I actually hit publish, when I was just dinking around. So just stuff like this continues to make me excited about the tech world, and this is why I like bringing this show. I think we're just, again, we're seeing going to be vast changes here. I was talking with someone at a Halloween party the other night, and we were kind of quizzing each other, and it's just like they had just discovered some marketing stuff they could do with ChatGPT and other tools, and they were simply blown away. And I'm like, you're going to be good because you figured it out. A lot of people are ignoring what's happening in the world here, and I don't think any of us should ignore it. Now, that kind of leads me into almost the first news segment tonight with this announcement from NVIDIA going to make ARM-based PC chips. Now, this is big. We know that NVIDIA dominates the market for AI computing chips, and now it's going to come after Intel. They've been quietly designing a CPU that would run Microsoft's Windows operating system and use technology from ARM Holdings. The AI chip giant's new pursuit of Microsoft's effort to help chip companies build ARM-based processors. Now, Microsoft plans to take aim at Apple, which has nearly doubled its market share in 3 years since releasing its own ARM-based chip. So this could be a major. Intel better wake up. NVIDIA and AMD could sell PC chips as soon as 2025. And Qualcomm is talking about joining the market as well. Well, they've been making ARM for laptops since 2016, excuse me. So they've been in the game as well. But Intel, you better move. And I think NVIDIA, if you don't own the stock already, is a buy. I don't think that stock's going down anytime soon. And I think just demand. Because what will they be able to do? They'll be able to build into these chips some of these functions that'll take advantage of some of this AI stuff, and at a different level, obviously. But it's just a matter of time before it just changes everything, to be quite frank with you. Hey, if you got comments on today's show, definitely send me an email, geeknews@gmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you. I definitely appreciate it when you send comments. But something coming from Chrome, this new Chrome feature may protect your privacy in a big way. Google is prepping an IP protection feature in Chrome. Could make one of the best web browsers even better than it already is. This addition could offer a major security boost to millions of users sick of having our privacy invaded. The IP protection tool will route your traffic through a proxy server, aka a VPN. This would help to obfuscate your IP address, making it much harder for you to track as you browse the internet. But here's the problem with this. So if Google is going to provide you IP protection, now think about this. Google already owns a huge part of the advertising business. So is it really going to help you? Or does it just give Google that much more information? Because now, through Chrome, if you enable this, all of your traffic will be trafficked by Google. So, on the surface, this sounds like a cool thing, but maybe you should actually be using your own VPN from a third party. Again, the IP protection tool will route your traffic through a proxy server, again, owned by Google. Now, I just wonder how they're going to say, okay, we're not going to spy on you, but how could they not? I'm sure the terms of service in this is going to be interesting. Google is not our friends, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to privacy at this point. They really, really are not. And you might be better if you start to think about it with a different browser. Especially if you're doing things online you don't want Google to know about. So I don't know. I just, it's like, who do you want garden? Do you want the fox guarding the chickens? I don't think so. Moving on to Amazon, global manager guidance on Amazon's return to office policy reportedly gives managers the power to fire workers who fail to abide by the company's decision to force a 3-day per week office-based working. According to the notice, managers first engage in discussion with workers who are not hitting their office-based target. From there, managers may end up having to take disciplinary measures against offending workers, which could potentially result in the termination. Notice reads, if the employee does not demonstrate immediate and sustained attendance after the first conversation, managers should then conduct a follow-up discussion within a reasonable time frame, which Amazon suggests between 1 and 2 weeks. The notice continues to detail how managers should highlight that returning to office 3 days work is a requirement, and that continued noncompliance without a legitimate reason may lead to disciplinary action up to and including termination. So, got to go back to the office. Now, if this report is true, this wouldn't be the only company to do this. Earlier this month, Roblox said that workers failing to comply with its policy should also be prepared for termination. So, what's your boss saying? Making you get back to the office or not? I'd love to hear from you. A dangerous new malware can crack encrypted USB drives. Tetris Phantom has been seen targeting government devices to hack official secrets. I found this interesting. When I was still active duty and doing government work, you could not put a USB drive in the government computer. Matter of fact, the ports were shut off. The only way, and you think about this is crazy, the only way that I could get media off and transfer it to another machine, or if it, depending on where it was going, was via CD. I had to burn a CD, and there was a whole bunch of permissions that went along with that. But I could not physically stick a USB stick in a computer. The ports were locked down. But this malware, and there was, if you needed to transfer big files from one place to the other, there was mechanisms to do that, but it was always major pain. Cybersecurity says they've uncovered a sophisticated new piece of malware, seen compromising secure USB drives to steal sensitive information from government endpoints in the Asia-Pacific region. And when someone says Asia-Pacific, that usually means PACOM. Pacific Command. That's kind of a unique term that people use, Asia-Pacific. Secure USB drives have encrypted partitions. Files can only be accessed with a password and through specialized software. This method generally used to safely transfer data between systems, including air-gapped endpoints. So we had computers that weren't connected to nothing. They were just, again, no network, nothing. They served a specific function, and the only way I could get stuff to some of those devices again was a CD, and then two-person destruction. There, all kinds of crazy rules, but utilized to make sure that that data was not walking out the door. So I should not be surprised here. Again, they don't know which governments were targeted specifically, but when they say Asia Pacific, that to me smells like Pacific Command of the military. It's just kind of a unique term that I think kind of smells that way. Why would they say Asia Pacific? But anyway, anybody heard anything? Drop me an email. Meanwhile, China is targeting iPhone maker Foxconn with probe into tax and land use. Now, the prior chairman, Go, who handed Foxconn management to a successor and chief executive 4 years ago, he resigned his seat on the board in early September after announcing his presidential run in Taiwan. But he still holds a 12.5% stake in the company. So, Taiwan-funded enterprises, including Foxconn, should also assume corresponding social responsibilities and play a positive role in promoting the peaceful development of cross-strait relations. Foxconn said it would cooperate with the investigation. And again, Beijing has in the past targeted local subsidiaries of Taiwanese companies with regulatory probes and political pressure at sensitive or tense times. And him running for president is probably putting Foxconn right at the middle of the crosshairs. Now, if the Chinese Communist Party regime were to say, if you don't listen to me, I'll confiscate your assets from Foxconn, I would say, yes, please do it, Go said at the announcement of his presidential run on August 28th. I cannot comply with their orders. I won't be threatened. Now, that's a pretty bold statement. The founder insists that despite his decades of doing business in China, which has made Foxconn the country's largest private employer and exporter, he is not doing China's bidding. So, The whole Taiwan thing comes up again. Ironic? I think not. Tesla, they're always looking to get a little bit of social bump. Tesla demonstrated the bulletproof nature of its Cybertruck by unloading a Tommy gun into one. So, as to make amends and back up the fact that Musk's truck is tough as nails, he took to Twitter to confirm that the company emptied the entire drum magazine of a Tommy gun into the driver door, Al Capone style, and that no bullets penetrated into the passenger compartment. This came in response to a member of the Tesla owners of Silicon Valley spotting and filming a shot-up Cybertruck cruising along the highway as if it were starring in a scene from the next GTA game. The door panels of the vehicle in question do indeed appear to have been peppered with what appears to be ballistic material, even the process conveniently not been captured on film. Naysayers saying, oh, it just blocked a 45 caliber bullet, which some ammo expert isn't particularly. And I shoot a 45 at your. No, don't do this. I would not shoot a 45 caliber round at my car because it's going through. That's what's happening. So, they had a pretty painful Q3 earnings call. So, maybe need a little spice up in the social media network. CarPlay, Android Auto, mine load by default. But apparently, most people still listen to AM or FM radio. New data suggests a lot of people do most often their cars listen to the regular old radio, writes 9 to 5 Matt. You might think 1993. The market research company Edison used one-day listening diaries to the measured amount of time spent listening to audio, then compared to those results for those with and without an in-car entertainment system. Those without an in-car entertainment system spent 67% of their time listening to AM/FM. But among those with an in-car system, 46% still listen to AM/FM radio. I canceled my Sirius XM subscription. They wanted insane amount of money. Insane. It was like $300 and some dollars. I was like, you got to be kidding me. No way. I don't need to listen to Howard Stern that much because I'd only listen to him like on road trips or something. If I'm going to listen to something, I'll put on Apple Music or, one of those other. I don't need $300 for a year. I'm not going to help fund their next satellite launch. I can tell you that much. Microsoft Q1 earnings preview. Wall Street looks for signs of AI-powered growth. Revenue for the period expected to come in at $54.5 billion. This is the guesstimate. We will see. We'll see what happens here. Where the actual earning report comes in. With the economy the way it is, we'll see. We'll see. And I haven't been using the product any more than I used to. Not at all. Now, those of you that are worried about your Amazon account and so forth, Amazon has enabled passwordless passkeys on iOS and the web. So it's rolling out passkey support. And they've dipped their toes into passkey support earlier. And it wasn't ready for prime time. So you're now going to need a 2FA code, which wasn't enabled for mobile apps, but I guess it is now. You can enable passkeys through the iOS app once it's updated. It will be under your account, login, and security setup for passkey. Amazon did not provide a timeline. Now, here's the problem. I didn't provide a timeline for Android users. If you share your Amazon account, which I'm sure many of you do, you might not want to do this. I think you can set up alternate email accounts for your Amazon account. You maybe do that first. Google faces new antitrust probe in Japan. The Japanese Fair Trade Commission has become the latest regulatory body to announce it's investigating Google for alleged antitrust violations relating to the company's search and advertising. Oh, you think so? Google's been suspected to exclude business activities of its competitors or strict business activities of its counterparties. So, in response to the announcement, Google stressed that Android is an open source platform. Its openness and flexibility ensures that users always have a choice to customize their devices. We're going to continue to work with Japan authorities, blah, 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 blah. And of course, in the EU, Google is seeking to overturn a $2.4 billion, 2.6 U.S. fine that was imposed by the EU in 2017. So, and of course, they're going through stuff here too. So, I really think at this point, Google's gotten too big. They need to be broke up. To me, that seems like the best solution. Now, speaking of alternate browsers, Brave was the darling of many in the privacy space, but they've done something a little weird here. Brave is under fire for installing its VPN without user permission. Now, they don't turn it on. The firm responded to this claim by claiming these tools won't start operating unless a user manually activates it and pays for a VPN subscription. Nonetheless, this sort of underhanded installation may come as a blow to the privacy-concerned people who turn to Brave for a more secure software in the first place. Brave Firewall and VPN are the two incriminating applications that many Windows users are likely to install on their machine without even knowing it. So Brave Firewall plus VPN. So take a look for it. You can unload it if you have it installed, or are you using it? You know, when I rented the Tesla down in Phoenix and had such a dismal experience with it, and I mean it was dismal. A little shot of Red Bull here. Range anxiety was big. And I was just driving around Phoenix locally. Topping up batteries little and often could help reduce range anxiety. So they're thinking about Japan is going to be putting wireless charging at traffic lights. They're preparing a pilot program that will see wireless charging tech embedded into the road services in Kashiwa City, Chiba, just outside of Tokyo. The idea is electric vehicles fitted with the appropriate tech waiting in a traffic signal will be able to wirelessly receive a 10-second charge, which could add around 1 kilometer of range. Now, that may not sound like a lot, but if the trials are successful, it could see the technology implemented at all traffic signals, which could equate to 10 to 20 miles of extra range, depending on how many red lights you hit, or you sit in traffic, which you often do in Japan. According to Japanese University Journal, in-motion power supply system feature vehicle detection technology. It minimizes standby power wasted by always-on transmission coils in a road. What's more, it's an exercise in durability and toughness, as these bespoke coils will have to be able to stand the weight of daily traffic. So we'll see what they do with this. You can do wireless charging of your vehicles today. I don't know what the efficiency rating is on that, but it is possible. In kind of a duh moment, the iPhone 16 could be more expensive than iPhone 15 due to rising production costs. You think? Have you bought groceries lately? So they could say it could cost an additional 12 to 14% based on inflation. And the new chipset apparently costs a lot more. So you could look at a significant, maybe as much as 10 to 15% increase between the 15 and the 16. So we'll see. Got some time to wait on that. Dropbox, they're ditching its digs. They're shuttering 1/4 of its office space at its corporate HQ in San Francisco. It's paying $79 million to the landlord to amend the contract and forego 165,000 square feet. And basically, they're going to save, by spending $79, they're going to spend approximately $200 million over the remaining 10-year lease. So they're spending 79 to save 200. It's about 130 plus over 10 years. And of course, they laid some people off recently, 16% of their workforce. So this, remote working, some are all in, some are partially in. Pretty cool video. Figure is an interesting company. And in just the first year, they have created their first bipedal walking robot. And let's see if I can switch this on. I got to turn the sound off so I don't get a copyright hit here. And let me replay this and bring it up on the screen. So what you've got is, for those of you listening, you got a typical standing robot walking across the floor. It's doing a 90-degree pivot facing the camera. And now it's walking. It truly looks like a Terminator style robot, to be quite frank. And it's got a digital screen in the front. So anyway, kind of cool on what they've come up with. The link will be up in the show notes. You can check it out for yourself. But anyway, they've gotten to its first prototype in just 12 months. But they had $70 million in funding May of this year. So fast moving. Now the Biden administration has designated 31 new tech hubs to encourage innovation. Each location will receive up to $75 million. The article on Engadget did not have the areas, so let me read these off. Tesla Hub for Equitable and Trust Autonomy in Oklahoma. Ocean Tech Hub in Rhode Island and Massachusetts. Headwaters Hub in Montana. Elevate Quantum, Colorado. Obviously, Colorado. The Block Tech Hub in Illinois, Indiana, and Wisconsin. Advanced Pharmaceutical Manufacturing Tech Hub in Virginia. Regen Valley Tech Hub in New Hampshire. IFAB Tech Hub in Illinois. Kansas City Inclusive Biologics and Biomanufacturing Hub in both Kansas City, Missouri, and Kansas City, Kansas. Heartland Bioworks in Indiana. PR Biotech Hub in Puerto Rico. Wisconsin Biohealth. Baltimore Tech Hub. Birmingham Biotech. Greater Philly Region Medicine Tech Hub. Minnesota Med Tech Hub. Gulf Louisiana Offshore and Wind Propeller. Intermountain West Nuclear Energy Tech Hub in Idaho and Wyoming. South Carolina Nexus for Advanced Resilient Energy, both for South Carolina and Georgia. South Florida Climate, New Energy New York, Nevada Lithium Battery and other EV materials, Critical Minerals and Materials for Advanced Energy out of Missouri, Texoma Semiconductor Tech Hub, Corvallis Microfluids Tech Hub in Oregon, New York Smart One Corridor Tech Hub, Advanced Gallium Nitride Tech Hub in Vermont, and Sustainable Polymers Tech Hub in Ohio, Forest Byproducts and Advanced Manufacturing Tech Hub in Maine, American Aerospace Manufacturing Tech Hub in Washington, Idaho, Pacific Northwest Mass Timber Tech Hub, Oregon, and Washington again. So there's the list. Each of those get up to $75 million. Again, these are Tech Hub designations, Tech Hub communities. I'll let you have a link and you can read the full press release on your own and see if some money's coming to a town near you. Maybe it could get on that. According to The Guardian, the moon may be 40 million years older than previously thought. And this is from some dirt they brought back from the 72 Apollo mission. So took them that long to figure that out. The DOJ is probing Tesla's EV range after reporting exaggerated numbers. I think we kind of heard about this in documents filed with the SEC. Tesla said it had received requests for information, including subpoenas, regarding certain matters associated with personal benefits, related parties, vehicle range, and personnel decisions. So Tesla's received a lot of complaints about their range. I agree. Ransomware is threatening more businesses than ever. Hackers are exploiting sloppy migration from on-prem to the cloud. And it's misconfigured cloud. So, we have a white, basically we pay for what do you want to call it? Um, white hat hackers basically sending in reports, and it's a bounty program. And I was paying a bunch of bounties today. I think we had 4 or 5 over the past couple of months that we looked at and fixed and responded in in our own way, and how we pay them. And um, and we tell people up front what we pay, what our range is. And I had one hacker, he got really pissed. He's like, "That was worth $300." And I'm like, "No, it wasn't." But it can't hurt him to ask, but we told him ahead of time what the range was. So if they don't want to submit them, but we pay on stuff that's valid. Sometimes we have to say no bounty on this one because of this. It's pretty handy to have a program like that. And I encourage you, if your company doesn't have it, to have some sort of bounty program to pay pay people that find security vulnerabilities. SpaceX will launch ESA navigation satellites amid delays with the European Union's own rockets. And the Falcon 9 will launch up to 4 Galileo navigation satellites. And obviously the Ukraine thing is causing a shortage of rockets that people can use. So that's part of the issue. Major newspapers are negotiating with OpenAI for compensation regarding their news stories use in AI training. Publishers that demand share of the 1.3 trillion generative AI market. Over 535 news organizations block content for ChatGPT training. Great. I'm glad they're blocking them. I really am. Because the way AI works, they will no longer be an authoritative. They'll be no longer the authoritative source. So I think this is smart. News organizations keep on blocking it. Not going to hurt me. YouTube, meanwhile, gets a new AI-powered ads that lets brands target special cultural moments. And it's deciding, this AI is how it decides to show ads to you. And I'm not, again, I've got some very strong feelings about YouTube and AI and podcasting and a whole bunch of other things that are going on with them right now. Hackers breached the International Crime Court in cyber espionage attack. Well, you know what the International Criminal Court is, right? The ICC is responsible for storing and investigating evidence related to war crimes and genocide. So who has a bunch of hackers? Well, Russia does. Following identification of a potential breach, immediate measures were adopted to respond to the cybersecurity incident and to mitigate the impact. So what type of information were they trying to remove? Well, we know that one of the most notable warrants issued by the court, again, was an arrest for Vladimir Putin. So, you're going to go after the big boys. You got to be prepared for a big boy attack that comes back after you. All right, that brings me to the end. 1700's in the can. I hope you had a good time with me. Relatively short show here, 45 minutes. That kind of seems to be kind of the sweet spot right now. Remember when we used to be an hour 10? I don't get on my high horse too often anymore. Once in a while I do. But again, if you see the comical thing today with episode 1700, send an email in, and you may have to go to Facebook to see it. Or look at you won't be able to see it on YouTube. You have to go to Facebook and see it. You can send me an email, geeknews@gmail.com. Tell me what you saw, and we'll put you in the running for an Amazon gift card, and we'll give that out on the next show. All right, I'll be here Thursday for another edition of the Geek News Central podcast. All of you, I hope, will be here for the next 100 episodes as our march to 20 years in podcasting continues, which is pretty insane, to be honest with you. I am going to be doing some travel starting around the middle of the month. I'm going to be away from the studio for 3.5 weeks or so. Some of it's business, some of it's personal, but just thought I would give you that. We'll probably probably won't be a lot of video during those 3 weeks. We'll still be doing the audio show. Because of travel days, I'll probably miss a couple of episodes, but right in around there on Thanksgiving and everything going on. But I will be with you all the way up at a minimum until November 13th. And then we'll have one episode I'll probably miss that week, and then back with it full on. But again, no live shows, and it's going to be curious to see how all this works out. But I got a new Rodecaster Dual to travel with. It's kind of pissing me off. It's giving me issues with the sounder pads. It's not a big deal, but for the new media show, I need those to work the way they're supposed to, and they're not. So I'll be playing with that, seeing what's going on. But other than that, I hope you all are good. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being part of the family. geeknews@gmail.com is the email address to send your commentary to. At Geek News on Twitter. At Geek News at geeknews.chat on Mastodon. Again, it's been my pleasure to bring the show. We'll be back with you on Thursday for 1701. Everyone take care. We'll see you